Minecraft 1.19 The Wild Update is giving us a bunch of cool features. From new Mangrove Swamps to the Deep Dark and even the Warden, there are some really cool things to discover. So today we're going to go over every single feature that you need to know about for the update. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing as it helps out quite a bit and shows your support for the channel. Thank you. We're going to begin with the first major feature of the new update, which is the introduction of the new biome, Mangrove Swamps. The Mangrove Swamp is honestly just a really cool biome coming inside the game because there is a lot of very unique blocks. There is a new block called mud coming to the game. If you place a mud block on top of a block with pointed dripstone underneath, then eventually it will turn into a clay block. If you combine your mud blocks with wheat, then you'll get yourself packed mud. And then you can use the mud bricks to make stairs, slabs, or even walls. And on top of that, you can combine mangrove roots with a mud block to make muddy mangrove roots. And that is everything regarding the mud family. The mangrove tree is very different from the other trees in the game because they can come in different sizes and different shapes. But most importantly, the way that you can grow these trees is a lot different because you need a propagule. A propagule is going to grow on the mangrove trees and eventually they will grow and turn into one of these. When you've obtained a propagule, you can either place it underwater or you can place it on land. So this effectively makes this the first sapling that can be placed underwater. That's what makes mangrove trees superior. Just like every other wood type in Minecraft, you can find a whole range of different wooden blocks. You've got the slabs, the planks, the stairs, doors, trapdoors, and so on and so forth. And you've also got the leaves and plus the beautiful mangrove roots. I mean, this is just a very beautiful wood type. But the trees can also generate with moss carpets, which makes them a little bit more interesting. Now there are three types of frogs that you can find in Minecraft. There is the warm frog, which is found in warm biomes like deserts, jungles, or even mangrove swamps. Then if you travel to a biome that's really cold, then you'll find the cold frog, which is green. This is honestly my favorite kind of frog. I just love the coloration of this guy. And finally, there is the temperate frog. The temperate frog can be found in forests, plains, or any other biome that's kind of warm. You can even find the temperate frog in the old swamp biomes as well. Frogs are even really great swimmers. And when it comes to jumping, they're pretty good at it as well. So when you got two frogs and you use slime balls, you can use it to breed two frogs together. Then one of the frogs makes their way to water and they will lay a frog egg. And then after it hatches, you get about 2 to 6 tadpoles. The Minecraft wiki did state that it takes approximately 30 seconds for the frog eggs to hatch. And depending on the biome that the tadpole grows up in, then it'll turn into one of the frog variants. You can even use a water bucket on a tadpole to make transporting them a lot easier. Frogs also really love eating slimes, and it will produce a slime ball. Maybe you can use this in some kind of slime farm. Now if you manage to get a frog in another somehow, depending on the frog variant you have, you'll get yourself a new type of block which is called a froglight, and they come in 3 different colors. The warm frog will give you the pearlescent purple froglight, the cold frog will give you the verdant green froglight, and the temperate frog will give you the ochre yellow froglight. They can even be rotated in all 4 cardinal directions like you can with a log. There's even a whole new range of chest boat varieties coming to the game. If you want to get a chest boat, just grab your favorite boat type, then combine it with a chest, and voila, you've got your boat with chest. Now these can basically be ridden just like any ordinary boats of the game, but obviously it's going to be a one-seater because the chest is taking up the second occupant seat. But when you open up the inventory, you'll basically be able to store things just like a regular chest. So in all functionality, this is just a chest you can take on the go. And it's definitely going to be very useful when you're going through shipwrecks and you're gathering up all the goodies on your travels. Next up, we're going to go over the wonderful Allay. The first way to find the Allay in your worlds is by finding the dungeon room in a wooden mansion. Now each dungeon cell is going to contain about 1 to 3 Allay. This is the seed if you're all wondering. And for this particular seed, there's 2 Allay in there, 3 Allay in there. In this cell, there's only 2, and the third cell contains 1. So that's a total of 8 Allay. But if you're lucky enough, you might find yourself a mansion that has multiple rooms. And if you find yourself in that scenario, then you're going to have a lot of Allay free. And then the second way to find Allays is by finding an outpost. You're going to have to look around for these cages. And just like the Iron Golem, the Allays are going to need to be freed. And you can find 1 to 3 Allay in these cages. So now let's talk about how the Allay works. So this is the Allay right here. If you give him any item by interacting, then he will follow you around until he finds another item to pick up. So if you throw down the piece of gold, then you'll notice the gold and go over to it, then it'll come back to you and give you that gold back, which is a really cool mechanic. Now let's say you want to change the item out. Well, you have to first catch up to the Allay, then you can interact and you'll get the item back. Then you can simply interact again with another item, and then it will get the other item in its hand. You can also use note blocks to make the Allay drop an item off in a certain spot. So we have a note block right here, and if I interact, it sends a vibration to the Allay, and whenever you throw down items now, instead of picking them up and taking it to you, it will pick them up and take it to the note block. New bomb coming to the game, and it is called the Deep Dark Biome. Now originally this bomb was meant to be part of 1.17 before it got split into 2 updates. Then they said it was going to come in 1.18, but then during Minecon last year, they announced that this bomb is now going to be coming in the 1.19 Wild Update. So we're finally going to be seeing this brand new bomb come to the game, and it's going to be really cool. This bomb is going to be made up of a few different blocks. We have Sculk Blocks, Sculk Veins, Sculk Sensors, the Sculk Catalyst, and the Sculk Shrieker. Let's go over these blocks one by one. You can break the Sculk Blocks by using O as the primary tool, and it will also drop XP. And the same thing will apply for the Sensors, the Shriekers, and the Catalysts. Then there's the Sensor. Now the Sensor is a very complicated piece of redstone technology, so I won't be able to explain everything about the Sensor, but I will explain the basics. So basically, for the Sensor itself, this will detect vibrations. So if you're jumping or moving around or using certain objects, and it's going to output a redstone signal. If you guys want to know more about the Sensor, then I recommend taking a look at the wiki because it will explain a lot more things. Then for the Sculk Catalyst, let's say you have yourself a mob. Any mob that dies in a 9-block radius will get turned to Sculk Blocks. And when you break those blocks, then you get XP back as a return. The amount of XP depends on the kind of mob that you kill. So let's say I were to kill an Endermite. Well, the Endermite will drop far less than what we got over there. For the spider, we got ourselves 5 blocks. For the Endermite, we only got 3. If I kill any animal, they will give us only 2 blocks. Or if I kill the baby slime or magma, we only get 1 block. So you could definitely use the Catalyst in many kinds of XP farms. And finally, we have the Sculk Shrieker. Now the Sculk Shrieker is used specifically to spawn in the Warden inside your world. If you place this down yourself after breaking it, the Warden will not be summonable. The Warden can only be summoned if these are naturally inside your world. And this can be activated in 2 different ways. The first way is by walking over it, then the other method is by using a sensor. If you end up moving around with the sensor, it's going to shoot a vibration and then it's going to cause the Shrieker to activate. If you manage to activate the Shrieker 3 times, then the Warden will spawn inside your world. And that's the next thing that we're going to talk about. Now the Warden is one of those mobs that you really must avoid at all costs. This guy, he is a force to be reckoned with. If any mob around the area is causing vibrations, then the Warden will be alerted to that area. But however, if he cannot find any vibrations, he can sniff the area to try to find its prey. And once it does that, then you know the rest of the story. But however, as you can see right there, the Warden has the supersonic ability. That supersonic attack can go through armor and even shields. So more than likely, it's going to destroy you. And if you do manage to avoid the Warden for a minute, then he will go back underground. And if you do manage to kill the Warden, all you get in return is 1 Sculk Catalyst. I know, it's not much. We're also seeing the introduction of ancient cities, which is the biggest structure in all of Minecraft. You can find the ancient cities on the lower depths of your world. As you're going throughout the ancient city, you'll be able to find a lot of types of loot inside the game. Like you can find some pretty good loot down here. This is all the loot that you can find. You can find C418 Cat, Lane of Rain's other side, and C41813. You can also find amethyst shards, name tags, soul torches, books, an enchanted diamond O with different enchants, potions of regeneration, there's saddles, enchanted books, you can find leads, diamond horse armor, iron leggings that have enchants on them, diamond leggings with enchants on them, compasses, Sculk Catalyst, candles, enchanted golden apples, Sculk Sensors, Sculk Blocks, bottles of enchanting, coal, bones, and finally glow berries. Or you can also find echo shards. The echo shards are used to make the recovery compass. The recovery compass points you in the direction where you last died. So if you're ever in a situation where you forgot where you died and you need to get to yourself quickly, then the compass is going to be your best friend. You need 1 regular compass in the middle of the crafting grid, then surround that compass with 8 echo shards, and then you get yourself 1 recovery compass. If you're lucky enough, you might find yourself a music disc fragment. Now this is for the new music disc 5, which is only down in the ancient cities. This music disc is extremely scary sounding, and I don't think you're going to enjoy the sound of it. But if you're into spooky stuff, then this disc is going to be for you. Once you've gathered 9 fragments, go over to a crafting table and place them all into the grid, and you'll get yourself Music Disc 5. As you're going throughout the city, you need to be very careful, because you'll notice that there's sensors everywhere, and there's even shriekers. And if you activate the sensor, then it's going to alert the shrieker. And then the shrieker will alert the warden. So you gotta be very careful, or the warden might come out to play. The best way to avoid the sensors is by crouching throughout the city. But obviously nobody wants to go at a snail's pace, so there is an enchantment that you can use to help you go faster. This enchantment is called Swift Sneak, which is an exclusive enchantment you can only find in the ancient cities. When you apply this to any legging in Minecraft, you'll be able to go a lot faster while sneaking. So we've just applied Swift Sneak 1. And as you can see, we are moving faster than what we were initially. Now this can go up to Swift Sneak 3, and this is what Swift Sneak 2 looks like. And then the fastest one is Swift Sneak 3. And look how much quicker we're going while sneaking. Under the centerpiece of each city, there is a secret room. And this secret room is full of redstone components. Each city is going to have a different puzzle in order to gain access. Now the first way that you can open up the secret laboratory is by eating a golden carrot. Go to the back corner, go ahead and eat up the golden carrot, then it should open up the doorway. The door has opened up. It may look like there's absolutely nothing here. If you look, you'll find this single piece of chiseled deep slate. You're going to need to walk over the deep slate, go ahead and jump, and then it should open up the doorway. The door has been opened up. Our third way of entering the lab is going to be if we walk through the center piece. So if you run through here, then it should end up opening up the doorway. Yes, it has opened up. Now when you're in the laboratory, it doesn't really change all that much. The only thing that really changes is the side room. So you'll find yourself rooms with redstone lamps. Sometimes you find this room with torches. It pretty much depends on the puzzle that you go for. That's what's going to determine on what this room looks like. You'll find that the lectern is still there and the target block is still here. And you may also find this room with 2 redstone lamps. When you go down to the creator tab in your settings, you'll find yourself creator settings. Enable copy coordinate UI. Now this is going to be extremely useful if you're playing on a mobile phone. Because as well know, when you're playing on a phone or tablet, it can be very difficult to type out coordinates. And with this new option, it's going to make things a lot easier. So if I'm opening up the chat, you'll find this on the top of your screen now. And by default, it's not going to be enabled, so you will need to turn that option on. But you can choose between block positioning or your positioning. If you choose your positioning, then it's going to copy where you're at. So if I were to fly all the way down this way, then I open up the chat again, and then I type in /teleport, and then add S. Now if I click on this button next to the copy button, then it's going to put our coordinates. If I click that, then it's going to show us the coordinates of the block that we're looking at. Let's say I was looking at this block in front of me. Well, the coordinate for that block is 1747, 72, and 246. But if I were to look at this block, then the coordinates is going to be different. This would probably be mostly beneficial if you're doing /fill commands. So I just put in our first set of coordinates, and I'm putting in our second coordinates, and here we go. So just in a matter of seconds, we filled in that area with stone. So for some of the players who are on mobile devices, this would be very useful for people who might want to copy certain coordinates. And finally, we are seeing a brand new game mode come to the game, and it is Spectator mode. But however, do keep in mind that Spectator mode is still in very early development, so you may still experience some bugs here and there, such as when you're third person, your player's head just goes all over the place, and it gets extremely annoying. But when you're in first person, everything works so much better. If you find any bugs, Mojang have stated that they are not accepting bug reports, but as they continue working on this, then they will let us know on when they're going to start accepting those. And while you're in Spectator mode, you cannot do anything in your world at all. You can't break blocks, can't kill mobs, you cannot interact with anything whatsoever, and you even cannot open up your inventory. So you're literally just spectating your world, and that's it. But Spectator mode is extremely useful just for finding things under the ground. Like if you want to find amethyst geodes, then this is the way to do it. Or if you want to find ancient cities, it's also going to be very easy to do so. Or even finding mine shafts, as you can see right there. It is very, very useful. And that's going to be it for every feature that we are seeing in the Wild Update. When it comes to 1.19, there is a lot of really cool things to be excited about, including the Warden, the ancient cities, and even frogs in the new Mangrove. But down below in the comments, go and let me know what you think of these features and which one is your favorite. If you guys enjoyed today's video, then please consider leaving a like, subscribe if you're around here, and for now, hope you have a logical day, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye.